G'day, and welcome to the film. Firstly, I'd like you to meet the reason for this whole shebang. After a solid stint of surf travel in my 20s, it's time for a new chapter with my partner Mim. And after some solid convincing, I got the green light to do a bucket list surf trip to the places I never ended up, but always dreamt to see and surf. That being the tropical shores of Hawaii and the famous waves of Pipeline and Backdoor, the somewhat dangerous yet beautiful country of South Africa, home of the mechanical Jeffreys Bay, and the Guinness, music, magic and frigid waters of breathtaking Ireland. With this in mind, I was off to the parts of the world unknown to me. Welcome to the Buckety. Anyway, I guess it helps to know a bit about the person you're about to watch for 45 minutes or thereabouts. My name's Nick Colbey. I'm 35 years old and grew up in a small town called Suffolk Park, right near the highly sought after tourist hub and now Hawaiian metropolis destination of Byron Bay. On one hand, things have changed here so much that home can feel unrecognisable, and yet it's still so beautifully the same on the other. When you're not being tailgated by a Tesla, snaked by an influencer, or battling for a car park, there is a spirit of the Northern Rivers that is unique and special, and the very reason why a lot of surfers moved here in the 60s and 70s. When you have a quiet moment here without the hustle and bustle and headaches, you still feel right at home. I often refer to these as a glitch in the matrix. After realising my dreams of becoming a professional surfer were quite out of reach on the Pro Juniors with a top finish of 77th overall, I decided to start seeing the world, travelling with a camera and some surfboards, like most of us thrill-seeking, surfboard riding, mischief-making, salty adventurers. Growing up in a then small country surf town, you either start settling down or go elsewhere to try something new. I ended up in Sydney for 7 years, and in the living room somehow of former Waves and Surfing World editor, now Stab director Danny Johnson. He was looking for some help, and I looked helpless, so before you know it he gave me a job as his little or in quotation marks, staff writer, online somewhat editor at Waves. This job turned into a filmer at Tracks magazine, where I got to go on some pretty amazing trips and make some surf movies you've probably never heard of. Alas, this was a real trip for a kid from Suffolk Park who spent thousands of hours watching surf films like Endless Summer 2 and Loose Change in the living room. Except there was one very small problem. I just couldn't stand watching people getting barreled whilst I sat there filming them. My whole body writhed in pain, or writhed in sweat and mozzie bites, or writhed in a deep jealousy of hatred for the man in front of the lens. I mean, what the actual hell? How could you be so upset with such a dream job that everyone would envy? But here I was, not good enough to be a paid surfer, and not quite shit enough to not want to mind surf every undulating line coming towards my eyes on the beach. So I guess I've been trying to surf and film and make music myself, because I never really felt comfortable just doing one or the other. A jack of all trades, master of none you could say. Which brings us to this very moment. We jumped on a 12-hour flight from Sydney to Honolulu and lucked into a mental forecast, promising perfect conditions for my first morning on the North Shore. Everything was coming up Millhouse until we became the Millhouses. A hot tip for anyone travelling to Hawaii or America: your debit card doesn't work here with hiring anything, so bring your credity or end up here for 6 hours.
The car rental, shit, never goes smoothly, does it? Especially when it's fucking 3 AM Australian time. Fuck!
at 5:30, it's fucking 11 o'clock. And we're meant to have a car and just cruise up to the North Shore. And now I'm in a rental car at household scenario 6 hours later waiting for a fucking Toyota Corolla. What just happened, mate?
Oh, the usual shenanigans. I think we spent about 5-6 hours trying to wrangle several different car hire options. Let's stop or what? Sorry.
Pipeline.
Pull up that song there, mad in a dog.
Ah, what a relief to finally reach the North Shore. Completely rattled to miss an incredible morning of waves after 18 hours of travel, but I will never forget seeing this stretch of sand for the first time. All the fables, legends and descriptions felt spot on being here. There's an incredible energy about this compact stretch of coastline. The overall feeling of aloha was present if you showed respect and knew your place in the area. It's a melting pot of Hawaiian culture with American influence. A breathtaking zone, also with heavy undertones of wealth disparity and former American colonisation. This is met with strong resistance from the Hawaiians, but also with a deeper understanding of something bigger. They welcome tourists, but know their place on their beautiful island. We were completely cooked from the travel nightmare, so we watched the iconic women's final go down at the pipe, and some absolutely perfect waves coming through for men and women's. My dream of surfing backdoor and pipe was so close, yet watching the scramble of surfers entering the lineup after the comp finish was daunting. Hordes of hungry, younger and fitter sponsored surfers charged out to get a shot. It was looking like this was going to be an impossible task. We surfed at sunset that arvo and head back to our all-time accommodation, this MASH-style army tent in the back of Cole's yard. The next morning we were up early and paddling out to 5 to 6 foot pipe, eager and anxious to see what would unfold. As luck would have it, because Barron won the event, half the island was sleeping in. This somehow led me to a part of this bucket list trip I'll never forget. Scooping into the line of a backdoor wave, looking out to the beach, with the green volcanic mountains in the background. It was a surreal moment I'll cherish forever. After a first real surf we had the buzz, but also didn't want to piss anyone off, as you've heard all the stories and folklore that this island has. We had parked in the pipeline car park, but under a tree, and not in an actual car park. Having a back and forth discussion about it, we moved the car, afraid of doing something disrespectful. We went and had a quick hit of cereal on the beach. The sun was out, the surf looked amazing, and we were nearly back out there, when I realised I'd fucked up. I ran back to where the car was, after leaving for 5 minutes, and 2 of my boards had been stolen, with leg ropes and a vest on it. This doesn't help when the waves are skits and your dream boards get flogged. The lifeguards were complete legends and were pissed off about it. They called the cops and I filed a report, but I knew deep down that they were gone for good. My fucking boards got stolen at the pipeline car park. My only good 6.0 and my 6.6. But what are you going to do about that in Hawaii, being a full howlie? Besides that, everyone's been super lordish. I really wanted to use that 6.0 at backdoor, but it was a dream to surf backdoor for the first time today. Travel, hey? 1 minute you're living the dream, next minute you're down $2,000. As one Hawaiian lord put it, it's not pipe that's the most dangerous, it's the pipeline car park. The other wild thing about Hawaii coming from Australia is just how expensive it is. Our month-long trip was quickly cut to 2 weeks, and things like a loaf of jumbo bread was 20 Australian dollars, or this carton of eggs a measly 26 Aussie dollars. Trips to Foodland became more what we could get for cheap than what we actually needed. We had a Stingrod's diet of beans, rice and chia pudding. One guy who really showed us his aloha spirit was this legend named Michael. He was a props designer for big movie sets and had just been made redundant from a big job on Hawaii Rescue 2.0. Seeing our dishevelled meals, he shouted us beers and a barbecue with the local favourite fish.
We're on. Barbecue time?
Barbecue time, baby. Jamming time.
We swapped songs from Hawaii to Australia, sharing music such as Warumpi Band, Midnight Oil and John Williamson. Michael had a story for every subject and some wild experiences. One of the more wild ones is his interesting job as a clock repairman. On one of the remote islands of Hawaii, it is still off limits to any contact from white people to maintain their way of life, free from disease in the modern world. But they need someone to change all the old manual clocks on the island. So Michael was flown into the island and all the inhabitants were told to stay inside without contact for 12 hours. They helicoptered him in and he went into a community building and fixed about 50 clocks. Once he was finished, he radioed the chopper and they picked him up and whisked him off the island. He didn't see anyone. Flying off overlooking the beauty of a mystical island, far away from anyone's contact in the modern world. Could you imagine? It's these bizarre and tripped out stories like this told from fellow drifters that stay with you forever. We had so many mishaps on this part of the trip and watched our bank balances deplete so quickly that a Hawaiian venture also turned stressful. Like the last surfing day of my trip, when I finally linked up with this legend Kai, a filmmaker and bodyboarder, to film some surfing. We arranged to meet at first light, so I brought my backup board down to Backdoor on the beach. As the sun rose, I thought I saw Jed sitting next to my board watching wobbly, dangerous Backdoor in the early hours of the morning. I took off on a non-eventful wave and turned around to that very person walking up the steps near the Volcom house, with my board under his arm. I couldn't believe it. A third board was being stolen in front of my very own eyes. I paddled through the impact zone at Pipe, getting lit up by waves, screaming into the beach. The guy disappeared into the bike track as I chased him up the stairs, a big rock in hand in case I needed it. I didn't know what to expect around the corner. Some guy tried to steal my board and was sitting in his truck. He looked at me and said, "Oh, sorry, it didn't have a leash on it. I was going to take it to the surf shop." I dropped the rock furious, but knew on a small island this story could get tweaked into something that wasn't true. He and his friend smirked as they walked by. I'm glad the rage inside didn't get the best of me. Turns out the filmer was late, stuck in traffic behind a bus for 40 minutes. I told him the story and he was perplexed, but he was a legend and said, "Just get out there. There's nothing you can really do." By the end of the day I was sunburnt, bewildered and in awe again of the raw power and punch of the North Shore in so many different ways. It's a special and powerful place. Stoked to meet Kai and for him to share some Hawaiian spirit and come film an Aussie stranger. We parted ways and I left the North Shore and stayed under this bridge in the cheapest room available in Honolulu for $320 a night. And with that it was time to head home and go on tour with my favourite band, King Stingray.
my wife and she had a fit. Burned like a pepper, then that was it. Oh, my God, you were so nice to the
This was another bucket list ticker for me. To be on a regional tour, playing at these incredible venues was amazing, but also a look into how grueling it could be to be a touring artist. Little sleep, long nights, and a lot of beers. By the end I used up all my energy and pushed it too hard, pretending to be 20 and not 35. It was time to head home and do a little bit of this to get some more money for the trip. But not too much, because we had an incredible run of waves at home, and when that happens, you just want to milk blood from the stone. What do you reckon?
Just once in a lifetime sort of situation, isn't it, Nick? Oh, look at that. Here he is. He's back. Yes.
After a few months back home, we were finally heading off to South Africa with good friend Jamie. We first met 8 years ago on a patch of dirt in WA when I hobbled in with a busted tyre. The tyre looked more like a wetsuit shredded apart by a shark than an actual tyre, and I asked in all sincerity, "Reckon it's fixable?" Jamie let out a respectable chuckle and said, "Maybe mate, we could give it a try," and we were friends ever since. I was flying from Brisbane to Perth to board our flight together to Johannesburg, then another to Cape Town, when another good old stitch-up came my way. A dust storm had delayed flights all over the east coast of Australia, affecting my flight. I sat nervously as it slowly kept getting more and more delayed, eventually too far past my international flight. So here we are, in Perth for 2 days, as Jeffreys Bay pumps while we're meant to be there. Well, I missed my flight, and that made us miss our flights. And now we're in Perth for the last 48 hours, drinking Penfolds, a couple of car park durries, but we're going tomorrow, hopefully. Hopefully. We just missed the swell of the year at J-Bow, but maybe we'll get some other waves. Fingers crossed. Fingers, knees and toes and all the other shit. Good night.
Found you. Hey. What are you doing here?
In South Africa in fucking Perth. We heard all the horror stories of travel in South Africa, and after a 5-day travel bender, seeing the budget car pamphlet of places to not drive, it was safe to say anxiety was through the roof. There was more security screens, barred up windows and locks here than Alcatraz. It took a while to get used to. But finally we had arrived to our place in South Africa, and luck would have it, it happened to be run by probably the biggest lord on planet Earth, if not definitely South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Duncan. Duncan showed us around like he had welcomed old friends into his house, much like a lot of South Africans do. There's a unique spirit and fellowship amongst the surfers and adventurers of South Africa. They live the surfer life and share hospitality like it's going out of fashion. It was a complete breath of fresh air to be welcomed with such spirit from Duncan. As you probably guessed, we missed the swell but made do with what was in front of us. Watching the Groms, or as the South Africans call them, lighties, was as entertaining as it gets. These lighties having a party wave session.
Don't crumble to the crumbs right now. Don't you crumble to the crumbs right now. You can save us now. You can save us now. Don't crumble to
Me with a barrel. And Jamie washing off the flight cobwebs.
Don't let it go. I'll be there. I'll be there.
This guy didn't care about his fins and got the ride of the day.
Crumble to the crumbs right now. Don't you crumble to the crumbs right now. You can save us now. You can save us now. Don't crumble to the crumbs right now.
We ate like kings, with meals costing no more than $10 and a six-pack about $6 Aussie dollars. The infamous Derby and Rugby League Union of South Africa versus New Zealand happened to be on when we were there, and it lights the nation alive. Everyone stops and watches intently on the game. With the 3-0 flogging of New Zealand, we had to keep reminding people we weren't Kiwis and went for South Africa. The surf was still shit, so Duncan gave us a map and sent us to a national park safari, with maybe a surf spot that could have something.
I'll be there.
This shore looked fun enough, but when you're on your own, on the end of the African continent, any shadow feels sketchy. I shared this wave with a local and called it a day. We said goodbye to Dunk and headed up the coast to pick apart the swell. praying to Huey for a moment at the famous Jeffreys Bay. As luck would have it, I guess for all the unluck we've had, a swell started to build for some potential days at the poignant right-hand point. We're here. Semi-flat, but semi-pumping anyway, because there's no one out there, is that? I am out there. Even though it's flat. The swell was inconsistent, barely breaking even, but I had to get out there. It made for another glitch in the matrix, surfing super tubes for the first time, with no one out. The swell filled in over the next couple of days, not huge, but pumping in my eyes. J-Bay is an incredible but challenging wave to surf. You spend half your time racing these perfect walls, and as the shallow section looms up, known as the bricks, you can get yourself into some sketchy situations. But what a wave, another tick for the bucket. If the wave doesn't blow your mind, then coming here certainly will. It's been said 1,000 times before and will be said 1,000 times again. Seeing these animals in real life, right next to your sardine tin of a car, is one of the most amazing things you could ever do. South Africa was incredible. We spent a month there which felt like definitely not enough time. With thousands and thousands of kilometres to explore, you could get lost here forever. 2 days later, Jamie was showing me around his beautiful county of Devon. I've never been to a surf spot where you can get a feed of wild berries off the natural fence line. And a pub where you get a tractor across and are cut off by the high tide. The buildings and pubs here are incredible. This pub dating back to 1336. I've also never had band practice in a barn before. We had a ripper night at outside, a community hang spot with skate ramps and cold beers on tap. It was also my first gig in the UK and a one to remember, with Joe and his dad on keys and drums. The Atlantic Ocean started to come alive, so we packed the van and headed north, finding some interesting spots to have tea and some refreshing spots for a wash down after a month of smelling like a festering wetty bucket. By now we were creeping towards winter. It was 6 degrees at night, which is a walk in the park for people from this part of the world, but not so much for someone from Byron Bay. The storms were active and the wind was raging before the swell came, which made sleeping in this red dome very interesting. It was a long, long night, eagerly awaiting what tomorrow might bring. After 2 weeks of no surf or onshore horrible surf, everything was resting on the morning. What a bloody ripper of a few days. I was speechless and content, watching the sun and swell fade away. We met up with Jamie's mate Nick. He invited us in to stay the night in his warm house, out of the tent and out of the wind. He showed us around and took us to some raw and beautiful parts of the coast. This guy was an example of how to live. He lived in the rawest part of the UK and had a smile from ear to ear, treating every day like an adventure. A true journeyman, making the most of everything and enjoying those moments when the sun punches through the grey to create lighting like you've never seen before. By now, Jamie and I had spent 2 months together, side by side, and now wet and cold, shit everywhere in a van that felt like it got smaller and smaller each day. We couldn't be any more opposite when it came to our daily processes. He liked to take his time. I thought 5 steps ahead and only thought about being at the surf spot at the exact time. I drove straight to the first car park. He checked out everyone. So after 2 months, many long nights and trouble, we were getting to that stage where we wanted to punch each other in the head. The surf crapped out, so we legged it 20 hours to get a 4 AM ferry to the Emerald Isle, with a quick stop in Glasgow for a Scotch whisky, or 5. Cheers. We made it. Next stop, Ireland. That'll put some chest on your balls.
Drive 24 hours and it's flat. Well, we'll go get a Guinness and that'll be all.
Everything will be fine. Ireland is a surf trip and a destination like no other. It's hard to get waves and harder to stay warm when you are, so these guys are used to pushing through hardships and the bitter cold, staying warm through song and a delicious pint. When the sun pops out, it really is appreciated here, and when the waves are up, the crew are out there taking it all in. I was itching to see if I could tackle this wave, but no one tells you in the broacher just how gnarly this wave really is.
Surely not. The net. Oh my god! There's the.
at this fucking one at the back, dude. It's a bit of a lucky dip. Like, look, that one's amazing. Oh my!
What are you doing, Nick?
Just taking your yellow mellow for a little cruisy one, brother. Woo! Wish me luck. This goat track is a whole lot scarier and death-defying in real life. If you get down that, then good luck getting out there, navigating this Waimea-like shore with large slippery boulders. Then, once you paddle out over 400 metres, there's a rip running you off the peak, and if you happen to fall off, well then you're between a very scary impact zone and a very hard and tall cliff face. It's a game of cat and mouse, trying to get on the boil and then not get lit up by the sets in between. After 45 minutes I finally got into one. Then not once, but twice I missed some of the best waves of my life by a fraction. Willing myself on, I just had to get one proper one before calling it a day, and here was my moment. I got completely rattled underwater, and all the beers and biltong and good times of this adventure were really proving like a bad idea if I was serious about being in these scenarios. I got absolutely lit up and had to paddle for an hour to get back in, thanking all the gods in the universe for my return to shore. Hats off to all those big wave surfers who do this every swell. It's a strange feeling, the scariness of having a crack at these bigger waves. There's a part of your body that says no, and yet a part where I feel like I left something unfinished out there. It's that big rush that is too corny to talk about properly, yet the real reason you keep coming back for more. Well, that was felt like Jaws for me. That was so skid. That's officially the end of my big wave career. I was actually the second hold down. I was fully fearing for my life. Just felt like the biggest chode, and I was actually crying to my girlfriend underwater. So that's it. 3 footers from now on. About 10 days later, my health took a turn for the worst. Yo. For some reason, I just been feeling dizzy. But just thought it was nothing. But I just hope it's not something serious. But the last couple of days, hopefully I get home and hopefully I just been cooking myself too hard. Need to eat more bananas. Not knowing if the wipeout or my lifestyle, or both, have had a part to play with these headaches and dizzy spins can spiral your mental health out of control. At the time of finishing this edit, it's been about a 6-month journey to feeling right again in the head. It still comes and goes, but I'm feeling a whole lot better than I did. Sometimes you don't get the fairy tale ending to the parts of your life that you'd wished, but sometimes that's the only way we can learn and keep on keeping on. Then there's sessions that really stick out in your mind from an adventure. Ones like this, at a random beachy somewhere in Africa, with one other guy out. A perfect fun size and an all-day offshore. There's not much more you could ask for. Surfing, its people and surroundings come in all different shapes and forms. Even though it can be a frustrating and crowded world, there's still so much adventure out there to happen. I just hope you get out there and go on your own bucket list trip before it's too late. I'm Nick Colbey, hooroo, and thanks for watching.